Hello, so welcome to episode 5, which is actually the last episode of our foundation series, and today we're going to be doing a buy or beware on the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. So I picked this up when it first launched because I think I heard a rumor or I read somewhere that it might have been a foundation that Meghan Markle wore on her wedding day, and I just thought it looked really great on her if she was wearing that. Unconfirmed, but I picked it up and actually, spoiler alert, really do like this product. So before we go into the application and wear test, I'll talk about this product a little bit and give you some background information. So the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation, like I said, it's been out for a little over a year, well over a year, and it comes in 40 shades, which is great, and the shade range is pretty spread out. So I am in the shade 3WO, which is 3 warm olive. So like I said, it's kind of the key trigger words or the buzzwords that I look for: warm, golden, olive, and I'm usually kind of like right in the middle of the spectrum. So I do have pretty true medium skin tone. So this is actually a really good shade match for me for most of the year. One thing that's different about this foundation over a lot of the other foundations is that it actually comes with 1.6 fluid ounces. So I picked it up at Sephora. It's $53 right now. I can't remember if the price has gone up since when I first picked it up. I thought it was more around $50, but when I checked yesterday on the Sephora website, it was $53, and you do get 50 milliliters of product. So that's about half a fluid ounce more than your typical foundation. So you actually do get quite a bit of product for the money that you're spending. So for example, the Natasha Denona Face Glow Foundation is I think $56, and you just get exactly like 1 fluid ounce of product. So this is slightly cheaper by a few dollars, but you do get half a fluid ounce more. This is supposed to be a more matte finish, and it is supposed to be a medium coverage. And the packaging is similar if you have ever used like the MAC Face and Body. It is a very similar concept, similar packaging, also similar packaging to the CoverFX Power Play Foundation. They both have this nozzle where you squeeze the product out of, and I actually don't mind the packaging whatsoever. I think it's very efficient. I do find that this particular nozzle does sometimes squirt up product, so you can see maybe that the inside cap is very grubby because some of the product just kind of spills out a little bit, but I haven't had any disastrous mishaps, so that's good. I also do find that the packaging on this Dior Face and Body Foundation is more malleable than the CoverFX, so this is definitely more reminiscent of the MAC Face and Body. So with that said, let's go into the application and wear test. Okay, another day, another foundation. I'm going to put on some primer, which is, as you guys know, the Tatcha Silk Canvas. I'm really pushing the boundaries of my hair today because it's the 3rd day that I haven't washed it, and it's looking really oily. So this is my skin with the primer. As you can see, I have, dark spots on this side. I have a couple blemishes here on my forehead, redness around the nose, pretty much the usual. I don't have anything super exciting happening on my face right now. This foundation is very fluid, so you have to shake it up very well. You can probably hear all the liquids swirling around in there. And I always like to shake it kind of a little more than you think you need to, just because it is a very fluid foundation. Now I do have sometimes this issue here where product kind of spurts out. I don't know how to prevent that. It's definitely not from shaking, because sometimes I'll shake it and sometimes I won't, and it still happens. I think it's just maybe the pressure buildup sometimes that happens in there. So yeah, very fluid base, and I just like to dot it on my face all over. And I typically will apply this with a sponge. I don't mind it with a brush, but I usually use the brush to swirl it onto the face, and then I use a sponge to kind of make sure that there's no unevenness and no streaks. You might be able to tell here that because this is a very fluid foundation, it does leave some streaks on the skin. It's something that you can definitely get rid of if you just take your time and blend everything out. But sometimes I am very impatient, so I will just take a sponge, a damp sponge, and then just dab it. So this is with one coat, and as you can see, it has
evened out the skin tone a little bit and it's taken down a bit of the redness. It's definitely more of a medium coverage. At this point, I feel like it's kind of more sheer than medium, but you can build this up with a second layer if you do feel like you need it. So I will add a second layer, probably just all over, just to give it a more even finish. I typically don't add second layers with this because I'm content with my skin peeking through, but just to show you the buildability, we'll do a second layer. So one layer has definitely improved the coverage. I would say this is definitely more of a medium coverage now. You can still see a bit of the dark spots on my cheek, but overall it has taken down the redness around my nose. It's given my complexion a more even finish. So I will go in with concealer, which will be the Urban Decay Self-Setting Concealer, and then the rest of my face, and we will chat after. Okay, so this is the finished look. I used pretty much all the same makeup. Glossier Wowder for the T-zone, Chic to Chic Pillow Talk blush, Charlotte Tilbury, Fenty bronzer. I did do a little something different for the highlighter today. I went with a cream highlighter. It's the Kora Organics Rose Quartz, I believe this one is. And I really like it. I love this highlighter because it's so malleable and it just blends so nicely. And then I did do like one coat, not even a coat, just one like really faint layer of Rustic, which is this eyeshadow from the Soft Glam palette, just to kind of really just to set my eyelids because they were getting very creasy already. But yeah, the finish of this foundation is definitely a natural matte finish. Right now, the shine that you're seeing is just from the highlighter. I did, like I said, powder my T-zone, but the Glossier Wowder is not a super long wearing powder to begin with, so it does allow like the natural oils of my skin to break through. So it will really show the wear of the foundation without impeding it or enhancing it. The concealer also is sitting pretty well on top of the base. And also for lips, I'm using the Glossier Play Vinylic Lip in Pony, which is like that nude color. Hello, quick update on makeup and hair. My hair is feeling very greasy. I'm gonna have to take a shower soon. My face looks still pretty good. Makeup still looks really good. It's only been a few hours though. No creasing, no visible signs of wear. Blush and bronzer still look pretty good. I think there might be a little creasing under the eyes for concealer. I have like 2 big creases there, but nothing too crazy. So I'll check back in a few more hours. It has been a few more hours now. It is, let's see, 5:40, which means that I have had this makeup on for 10 hours now. I was up early today because I had some early errands to do. So I did my makeup at around 7:30 this morning, and now it is 5:40. So yeah, that's 10 hours and 10 minutes. So I wanted to give you guys an update on my face because I am going to wash my face in about 20 minutes. There's a Raptors game and it's also Game of Thrones night tonight. So it's Sunday. I'm very excited. This is one of my favorite bases. So after 10 hours of wear, everything still looks pretty good. I can see it's definitely faded around the nose, around the mouth. I did have 2 meals today, lunch and also dinner, so that's probably where that's from. The bronzer and the blush though still look pretty good. Even the highlighter still looks good. There's no major creasing or moving, and I also don't look super oily. So let's do a quick little blot test of my forehead. I did not touch up at all today, so not bad. So you can still see a bit of oil residue there, but minimal transfer also, hardly any. There's a bit, but not as much as the other ones. There's definitely a lot more transfer around the nose because I wore sunglasses today, so I just get a lot of product buildup kind of where the bridge of my nose is. But all in all, it looks still pretty good. I like the finish of this because it is more of a natural finish. I don't feel like this base accentuates any of my oiliness, especially in the T-zone. It has a pretty decent oil control. It's one that I gravitate towards more in the summertime, especially when it's a little bit more hot and more humid, because overall I really like the finish. It's not a super full coverage, so not quite as heavy coverage as the CoverFX Power Play, but it's also not as dry on the skin, but it still maintains a pretty decent level of oil control.
So let's talk about what I liked and disliked about the Dior Face and Body Foundation. So I really like that there is a really good shade range, first of all. I also really like that this, even though it doesn't necessarily tout the fact that it is for like oily skin or oil control, it does have really good oil control properties. When you look on Sephora's website and you look at the recommended skin types that they would suggest this product for, it says all the skin types. So whether you're dry, normal, oily, combination, it says it will work for all of those skin types. So I'm more combination, and I feel like it doesn't make the normal spots on my skin dry, and it doesn't make the oily spots on my skin oily. So it's kind of like a really nice base for me personally. I also do like that this has minimal transfer, so there is a little bit of transfer, but especially once you kind of set it down with powder, I don't feel like it moves or it fades in weird spots. I also really like this has a natural finish. I wouldn't say it's matte, I would definitely say it has more of a natural finish. So I do feel like there's still some dimension to the skin, so my skin isn't just kind of like flat like a typical matte foundation would be. It does give my skin more of a natural finish, but it is very long wearing, or not very long wearing, but relatively long wearing considering it's not, you know, a matte full coverage base. I do have a couple of cons with this product, but really just kind of boils down to personal preference. One is that this does have a pretty strong fragrance or scent to it. It does dissipate maybe after like half hour of applying it, but if you are sensitive to fragrances, you might not like this because it's a very noticeable fragrance, really. Some of the other products, while it does smell like something, it doesn't really smell overly scented. It just kind of smells like makeup, but this definitely has like a fragrance scent to it. And another thing which is more of a preference is that it's not full coverage. So I wouldn't even really say it's like a strong medium coverage. It's definitely like a light to medium but buildable coverage. So if you are looking for a full coverage foundation, this one is not for you. So my final verdict on the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation is that it is a buy. I think this is a really great everyday foundation, especially for me. I wear it all the time. I can get away with wearing it in the summertime when my skin is a little bit more oily, and in the fall and winter when my skin is a little bit more normal, and I feel like it wears well no matter what. I also really love that it does have a really good shade range because it was actually quite easy for me to choose a shade in this foundation, but again, because I got it at Sephora, samples are your friends. So if you're not sure about which shade, or you're kind of between shades and you want to mix some things, or you want to just play around with it, you can always get a sample, and they're really typically kind with handing out samples. I also really like how you do get a decent size amount of product in here. So, you know, sometimes when you get more product of something, you think you have to use more of it, and that's kind of why they're giving you more, because they're trying to overcompensate the fact that, you know, you'll probably have to use more. I don't find that I have to use more of this product to get the same kind of look and coverage that I want. So to me, it's just like an extra half ounce of product for a decent price. So overall, I do really like this foundation, and I would recommend it despite what type of skin that you have, but I would recommend for sure getting a sample just to try it for yourself. If you have tried this foundation, you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching this series. I will hopefully have like a summary video up, but in case I don't get to it, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this series, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!